Alright, in this video we're going to explore how to make our own custom patterns. And there's more than one way to do this. It can be simple as just putting a dot and just dragging it or actually defining it as a pattern, which I'll show you. But in this case, I'm taking an element from our brand, from the brand of that awesome restaurant called Veg Out. And I just thought maybe it would be interesting to use it like wallpaper. Of course, I probably should have taken the black strokes off. That might be a little busy. But for the sake of demonstration, okay, so I don't have anything in my palette of colors except 3 Pantone spot colors, and black is just a wild card that I can use, so I chose gray. So the first step in this particular method is to create a perfect hexagonal shape, 6-sided. You get that by clicking the polygon tool, picking polygon, and then clicking on the screen just to get the 6. You don't want to drag because it has to be a perfectly symmetrical 6-sided object. Next, we're going to surround the object, marquee it to select it. And this time I want to do something different. I'm going to go under the Object menu and come down to Pattern, Make. And this is going to launch what I call the little pattern making factory. You'll see what I mean. It's kind of all over the place. So we are now in the pattern making factory. At the top you can see that it's kind of grayed out, so it's a special area. And so it's letting me know in this dialog box that the new pattern tile has been added to the swatches panel. And any changes that we make while we're in the pattern editing mode, aka my little pattern factory, it will be applied to the swatch upon exit. So if I change my mind right now and cancel it, which I'd have to do by going up here, it's grayed out, but these I want you to pay attention to, even though they're dark. You have to click done when you're finished here, okay? And so you want to at least know that. So right now, of course I would name my pattern. I'm going to call it the Veg Out Almond, even though there's no such thing. Okay. And this pattern factory lets you make several options. Now, all of this is very experimental, so don't go too crazy until you get the hang of it. But here, because I used a hexagonal shape, it tells you hex by column, hexagonal by column. And so this is hex by column. And you notice that it kind of staggered the items so that they'd be more seamless. Now, I didn't have to have a gray filled hexagonal back there, and it would have just been a pattern that had an empty space between the peach colored shapes. Okay, so we're going to live with that. There's so many other things we can do. Well, while we're here, let's do hex by row. Okay, in that case, the actual pattern the enclosing hexagonal shape appears, and it's if this was a different pattern, we might be interesting because the negative space is making those little hourglasses. But at any rate, let's stay on task, and we're going to do hex by column. But while we're at it, let's just look at some of the others. Okay, and so if I hadn't colored that bounding shape, it wouldn't appear here. So, all right, so that's brick by row, and that's grid. But we're going to do hex by column, and it may be that we get a seamless pattern. We'll see when we apply it as a fill to our rectangle. Okay, so I'm just going to click done up here. You got to do that. All right, so that just means the pattern's ready to use as a fill. This object is my panel that just represents you creating a batch of whatever you need for a backdrop. And so if you need enough to cover the whole back of a full menu, then you have to make it that size. So it can be brought in, as an element that fills the space. You don't want to have to scale it. So this time I'm making sure that my toolbar is set to be ready to apply the fill to this. So let's see. Okay, that's what we have. What do you think?